Good afternoon, TikTok. So I've had a couple of questions about how exactly Sleeping Beauty would have pricked her finger on a spinning wheel. So the story goes, she pricks her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel. She falls asleep. Prince Charming kisses her. She wakes up. Yada, yada, yada. You all know the story. So where exactly would she have pricked her finger? Now, these two are my antique spinning wheels. Both were built sometime in the 1850s. We don't know exactly when, but they have been dated to approximately the 1850s by someone who actually knows spinning wheels and can identify how old they are. Let's start with the little wheel. So this wheel is a Saxony style wheel. And why is it a Saxony style wheel? I don't know why it's called that if it originated in Saxony, but that is this style of wheel. It has that angled base and a very large wheel there. Now, where would Aurora have pricked her finger? Well, this is a distaff. She could have pricked her finger on the top of this. Now, my wheel, it's got this finial on the top, so it's not sharp. She couldn't have pricked her finger there on my wheel. But there were distaffs that were very sharp on top. That's a possibility. Next, if you look back here, this is the shaft of my flyer. You can see it does have kind of a sharp point to it. If that was sharpened any further, yes, it could be. It could poke your finger and, that could have been where she poked her finger. Though, that particular spot, not very accessible. Now let's talk about the big wheel. This is what's called a great wheel just because it's very large. And the nice thing about great wheels is that for every turn of this wheel, you would have hundreds of turns on this. Now, this is what we call a spindle wheel. Why is it called a spindle wheel? Because it is basically a drop spindle that's been turned on its side and you spin off the end just like you do a drop spindle, like so. So, this you can see very, very sharp. You could stab yourself on this. That's why it's kind of over here against the wall. Normally I have a cork on the end of this, but I don't know what I did with it. It's around somewhere. But that is also an alternative. There are wheels that were built like my Saxony style that had this assembly on it, particularly in the Middle Ages. Flyer wheels didn't really become super popular until I don't know when, but they are a more recent addition to spinning wheel technology. But yeah, that's what you would kind of look for if you were Sleeping Beauty and didn't want to prick your finger.